Welcome to the good, the bad, and the sequel. This is the movie podcast where we're talking sequels and we do it in two parts. First, an interview with an actor or someone involved that made the film worth watching. And the second, a discussion of the sequel, what they got right, what they got wrong, and how it could have been better. I hope you enjoyed last week's interview with one of the nicest people and the most inspiring. And he is a historian of the canon film era. And of course, I'm talking about King of the sequel, director Sam Furstenberg, amazing guy. If you haven't heard that yet, after listening to this review, go back and check it out. And then he has a great book. But before we get into this week's sequel, American Ninja 2, The Confrontation, I got to introduce you to my partner in the sequel watching journey, Jamie Riccardi. Jamie, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Doug. I feel very patriotic considering it was just July 4th, and now we're doing American Ninja.
American Ninja.
I think it's very, very fitting. I love this movie. This is, I know we spoke about this, but I used to own the VHS of this movie. I've seen it 1,000 times. Watching it as a kid, it's a great movie. That's great. Watching it now, it's like, I don't want to say bad. It's a bad movie that's great. If that makes sense. It's still great, but in a different way.
Yeah. The one comment we'll get into, while we go through everything and at the end. But one thing I love about these movies, and that's why it's almost like a spoil for me. Like if a new movie came out, an action movie, if you were like, Doug, do you see this yet? It's not that I don't want to see those movies, but these movies to me move so fast. And like the canon era, like Sam talked about, they didn't like anything over 90 minutes. So it's always like 129 and change or 128 and change. This movie moves. And I love that.
It does not stop. And that's why I loved it as a kid. I mean, I saw American Ninja 1 as a kid, and then this movie to me blows the first one away. I mean, it's just nonstop. You're right. It's nonstop action.
Man, let's just we got to jump right into this one. So right off the bat, it's so cool. Like you see Canon Group, because that to me is like, there's like a lore with if you look at all their movies, there's so many epic movies that they've done, whether it be like the Death Wish 2, 3, 4, 5, or like the Chuck Norris movies. There's so many epic movies, and seeing that name, you like know what you're in for. You know that there's gonna be a lot of freaking action, and a lot of people are gonna die.
You're in for a ride. I mean, and literally, I mean, it's just, all the canon movies in the 80s. I mean, they were just awesome. I mean,
I think you meant you're in for a ride because the movie opens up with a POV of Kawasaki motorcycles just going.
It does, and I was wondering, was there a point where you actually, because there were 3 motorcycles, there were 3 actual road motorcycles, the 3 Marines riding. But there's a few points where you see the point of view of a motorcycle, as if you're riding it. Do we see 3? Like, is that like a 4th motorcycle?
That is true. I remember just like when it kept bouncing back and forth. It was like POV, and then it would show like a side shot of the cliff, and I'm just like, whew, the speed that they're going, and just watching that, and then you almost forget, because I watched this movie before I interviewed Sam. That's like 3-4 months ago now. So I'm like, all right, what's going to happen right now? Is this going to be like ninjas right away? Like what?
But see, but that was great though. Like that's how they did a lot of movies back in the day, where the credits come on, but you're watching a movie as the credits are going. Yes. Like, and that's awesome. When you just see the credits rolling, it stinks. Like, but like this was like, it's awesome. You're watching the movie. The movie started already as soon as the credits came on.
Yeah, well, they said, like Sam was saying, that the Golbus and Golan, they nothing over 90 minutes, so they didn't want to waste anything. But dude, it's so funny when you watch some old movies, they have credits for like 3 minutes with nothing, just like the words and like not even a city background, like still images. But with this, boom, we're gonna see everybody who's in it. Sam Furstenberg film, Dudikoff, Steve James. And then, so they go to this bar, okay? The Blind Beggars Bar. So this is a ton of things about this. So we have these Marines, and this big, I was trying to think who he looks like. The big guy.
Yeah, I know. He looks like he would be like a bad guy from Tango and Cash or something like that. He just like,
Yeah.
but the big guy. Do you notice that his shirts are always stained?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has like puke stains on every shirt, like because he has like two different outfits, and they're both stained with like crap, like of some sorts.
Like what? I don't know what their deal is. I guess they're just a local gang, and they do have connections with the ninjas and the lion. I have no idea where they fit in, but the fact that they walk up and they're gonna try to rough this guy up for $1. That's less than Toto charges, and we'll get into Toto later. But this guy just wants $1. What's he gonna do with $1?
Yeah, well, what I want to know is, I mean, obviously, they're right off the bat they show you who's the bad guys, but why do they need the ninjas there if the gang already took care of the Marines?
Okay, this is another thing. So that bar, it was in operation because we go to that bar like 2 different times later in the movie.
Right.
So was the bar closed and they were just let in there because the ninjas came from the office. When they came out, they carried those guys away after they beat them up.
Well, maybe they were changing into the ninja outfits behind the bar, and then they came back out.
I was not expecting that because you had like that fight. You had them come up and they start fighting when he asked for $1. You're like, oh, maybe this guy's going to do something. And they're like, I don't know. They're Marines. They're bigger guys. They didn't really do much.
Okay, so not to jump too far, which I'm going to do anyway, but yes, they really got their ass handed to them by this gang, yet they completely hold their own at the end of the movie with all the ninjas.
They do.
So, I mean, and there's so much to talk about that, but yeah, I mean, and I have to be honest, I mean, I've seen a bunch of ninja movies. These ninjas are the absolute worst.
They're the stormtroopers. Oh, they're not. They're like the stormtroopers of ninja movies. It's so funny because there's so many times late, like throughout the movie, you're watching ninjas like they just like, all right, this guy's gonna get his ass kicked real quick. And then randomly there's one and you're like, wait, is that like one of the bigger bosses? Yeah. No, and then he gets his ass kicked.
They really don't do any damage whatsoever. And they're supposed to be super ninjas. Yeah. They're definitely not super and they're not ninjas. So, I don't know what they are. But yeah, they're the worst ninjas I've ever seen throughout the whole movie.
I know, but they can, man. So the bad guy, obviously we had the bad guys, the puke stained shirt, because this movie was filmed in South Africa. So they're like, that's like a bunch of locals they used on this movie. So that's like a South African gang, I guess, wherever. It's kind of confusing, the whole.
Yeah. He didn't have like an Australian accent.
Well, South African. It's kind of like that ish.
It's kind of like Australian.
Yeah, they kind of all blend.
Why? Because British. It's shaped the same as Australia.
It's like that British tie. It's like once it goes from Britain, South Africa, then it's not, and then Australia just is drunk. It's like the drunker they get, the dialect. But no, the fact that you have this freaking dweeb Tommy, who when he like cowers away, he pulls like, it's funny that the interaction we just had on some random guy on Twitter, he kind of pulls Terry Silver.
Yeah.
He like is peeking out.
His name is Taylor.
Tommy Taylor.
It's Tommy Taylor? He looks like a Tommy Taylor.
He looks like Michael Phelps. He looks like Olympian Michael Phelps. And he was so dweeby because the other guy came over and he's like, you did your job. Now get out of here. And I'm just like, these job?
And these are, they're Marines, obviously, but they are the wimpiest Marines ever. They're really like, I mean, you see a bunch of them throughout the whole movie. They're not like big guys. They actually look out of shape. Like they don't look like they're. So I don't know what kind of Marines they are.
No, I don't know either.
Which, and you know what? Hold on. That might make sense why the ninjas stink so bad, because aren't they all basically ex-Marines that they keep kidnapping?
Well, so we can kind of talk about that now. So that's one thing I don't know. I'll save it for when we get closer there, because that's one, not a question that I had, something that I don't know why they didn't introduce it later in the movie.
Okay. All right.
But so the thing that makes no sense. So this Tommy Taylor, we find out like not too far after this, his wife is kidnapped by the Lion, who's I don't even know. He looks like a guy who lives in like Boca Raton selling condos and like Everglade property.
And his name is Leo. Leo
Oh
the
my
lion.
It's amazing. You ready for one better? That actor, he was a big time actor. He was on like shows like Land of the Giants, like Michael Dukakis, Michael Dudikoff. He was like so excited to work with him because Dudikoff was still young in his acting, really.
Right.
He started like early 80s. And this Conway guy, he was Gary Conway. He was in like a bunch like Land of the Giants, but he was like a canon writer. He wrote Enter the Ninja. He wrote American Ninja 1, 2, 3, and 4, and he wrote the story of Over the Top.
Really?
Yeah.
So was he a writer before an actor, or an actor?
Actor before writer, because he didn't start writing until the 80s. Maybe he always wrote, but nothing got picked up. But yeah, they asked him to be in this movie in this role.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Just by mentioning Over the Top, that just, to me, that's huge.
But so it was his whole thing is his wife was kidnapped, so he has to give them Marines. So the scientists we'll get into that storyline later. But the fact that don't they look and be like, hey, what's funny? All these people that go with Tommy places, they never come back.
I said the same thing. I go, because they keep questioning, like they're missing Marines all the time. And what's the one thing that is common through all because they said 2 Marines are missing from a boat. 2 were missing from a bar. Tommy was there both times. Like they don't question Tommy whatsoever. And even later on in the movie, when Armstrong and Jackson,
exactly,
Tommy's there and they get attacked. So like they aren't the brightest. I mean, considering the captain, or what is he, a captain? Wild Bill?
Whoa. Wild Bill. Let's not talk about Bill. I love Wild Bill.
Not Val Kilmer? You mean the
he does look like ice man.
But I mean, if he's your captain, the Marines are not going to be that good.
But the thing that's funny about the whole thing, when we meet him, their whole thing is they're Marines, but they have to pretend to not be Marines. So they're all like drinking and they're dressed like real sloppy. So maybe that's their MO. They're like, we can't be in super shape because everybody around here will know. But what do they think they are? Just like a bunch of dudes that live together?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I mean, they just surf and just swim all the time and hit on girls. That's basically what they're, yeah.
So then we see Steve James, Dudikoff, Jackson, and Armstrong arrive in the airplane.
All right. Before we even start into the movie, I watched part 1 first, because I haven't seen it in a long time. I'm so glad they gave James more role this movie.
Oh yeah.
Like, to me, he makes the whole movie. I mean, Dudikoff is awesome, but James, his scenes are hysterical, and he's just so badass that, like, I think they realized that, like, had a little hidden gem in the first movie, so we got to give him more of a role in the second one.
And he's a legit martial artist. So for him, it's a lot easier. With Dudikoff, like Sam said, he was just super athletic, and they're like, hey, we can make this work. Like what they did with Lucinda in Breaking 2, and then they used her in Ninja 3. So like it was easy to do. But no, you're right. His scenes, funny, but his fight scenes they're great fight scenes. They're little short burst fights, but I love it. But did you get a little bit of the music when they land it? It's funny, the first thing that pops in my head, I'm like, this reminds me of Weekend Bernie's too. And then and then right away I go, boom, Steve James is in Weekend at Bernie's too. He's one of the 2 voodoo guys.
No, I know, but I'm trying to think, like, I wonder, like, is there, because it definitely does, what, I didn't think about it until you just told me. Like, I knew the music sounded just familiar. It was so tropical and everything. But you're right. It is just like Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe he's a composer too.
And then from there you get there's very generic, like these movies are trying to, not spend as much. So it's very generic. Like when they're in the car, when they get picked up by, oh my God, dude, the way they pick them up and they're like, hey, we're looking for 2 Marines.
Yeah. You know what? And then, Army, what a drag, he says, or something like that. Like they treat these 2 guys like crap, like especially that old guy, the sergeant, or whatever. Like, why do they hate him so much? These guys were brought in to help them out, and they hate them. They hate him.
Yeah. No, just the total smack talking again, just like all the other movies we talk about in the universes. Like, all right, you don't know who John McClane is. You don't remember the Nagasaki, Nagatomi Tower, or how he saved the, all the planes are blown up. Oh, and the third movie's in New York. We're gonna treat him like shit the whole movie. Just like this. How did it not get around what Joe Armstrong did, saving a colonel's daughter
from ninjas? And then Wild Bill has never heard what a ninja is. What's ninja? No. I mean, at this time, I'm assuming everybody, regardless in the world, knows what a ninja is, whether you saw the movie or not. What's ninja was his answer. I mean, it's just so stupid.
But this is where we got like one of the best, you knew that Steve James Jackson's character was going to be a lot different. Because he can't, it's like sequel, it's heightened. Obviously his fight scenes are more, but his lines are funny. When he's talking in the car, he's like, I'm not going to like it here. And the guy goes, yeah, the girls go topless a lot here. He goes, I think I'm going to like it here. The next line.
Yeah, he definitely like throughout the movie, I think he forgets his mission a few times. He does. and I'm going to throw this out there before we get there, but I think Dudikoff also is sort of a dick a few times in this movie because he kills a lot of innocent people.
He does.
So, so we'll get to that.
Oh, no, I know one point that he does kill all the people. And I was like, wait, why do you have to do that?
I know. All right, we'll get there.
Okay. Here's what I wrote about Wild Bill. I go, Wild Bill looks more like an RA in a dorm, a 6th-year senior, and he also looks like my mom's new boyfriend who's in between jobs. Because he has that stash, like he's always at the gym, doesn't work out.
Yeah, he has that Val Kilmer look, like around the same time, like Real Genius or again, Top Gun. I mean, and I noticed that you have a little G.I. Joe behind you.
That's crazy, right?
Did
you read about that?
No, but I mean, I know G.I. Joe. So, I mean, and I didn't think about it, but there's a big coincidence there.
Well, the end of the movie, now that you mention it, obviously, if you're watching a video, you sort of can see it because I have my mic in the way. But the end of the movie, they're wearing the same hat, the same exact hat with the cavalry on top. So
what? During the movie, I didn't realize until I'm looking at the picture right now. That's crazy.
I got to ask Sam if he was a fan of G.I. Joe or maybe the costume designer was.
They had to be. I mean, they look exactly the same. I mean, they had to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what? I'd be curious about that story because there has to be something, underlying in there.
No, definitely. So here's what I wrote. You just mentioned before. Why would you go water skiing if Wild Bill just said 2 men just went missing while fishing? The water, something's happening. I don't know. All right, could it be ninjas? Maybe they could think, maybe there can be ninjas here too. But what if there's just like a shark or something? I would not. The first thing I do when I get there, I wouldn't go water skiing.
And doesn't he say something like, I don't even know why you guys are here? He says that line. He ordered 2 guys to come there.
I know. Well, they ordered Marines, not Rangers.
Oh, so because of the Army guys there, they're not going to know why they're there.
Yeah.
Okay. He's kind of like Lassardish. I mean, he seems a little clueless about a lot of things.
No, he is. And all the stuff, like right away, I could tell at the party later, like who's involved with everything. And he's like just so out of it. Like he doesn't have any idea that like that Inspector Singh guy is crooked. Like, why would they not think that?
And so you think about how long they've been on that island. You're going to tell me they haven't been suspicious of any of that? Like they don't know anything but goes on that island with the lion, whatever. I mean, like I feel like you said, what did they do? I know they're undercover, but did they ever like actually work or they just stay undercover?
Exactly. And they aren't all too bright because the way Tommy, when he's driving the boat, somehow the boat trip is that long that they fall asleep.
I said the same thing. I said they literally were in the boat for 5 minutes and every one of them were sleeping. Like a deep sleep. Like not like they just fell asleep. They all were sleeping like they've been riding a boat for 24 hours.
Armstrong was the last one, and Tommy looked back for 1 second. I just I hate saying the name Tommy for like an adult male. Tommy Taylor. Like, no, just the fact when he looks back and Joe's like, one eye is like, yeah, he's fighting it. And then he just pulls two little wires that were so long, they were hanging underneath.
Yeah, he didn't even try to hide it. Like, literally, that's the way he's going to sabotage the boat, but he's unplugging it. He unplugged it. Which, by the way, Armstrong was able to find in 2 seconds.
He was. And I love that they're working on it. I'm not saying that. I think was the guy's name Charlie. Oh yeah, Charlie McDonald was the other kind of dweeby guy that was friends with Tommy. He jumps back there. I don't know if he knows motors. All he did was pull the top of the motor off, and he looked at it. He goes, "Everything looks fine over here." And then they said, "You know what? Screw it. Let's go for a swim."
They're on like a deserted island, and no panic. Let's just go swimming. And they literally when they go out there, they're gone. Like, you don't see them at all in the water, which, by the way, is covered with big rocks all over the place. Looks like the most dangerous place you possibly go swimming.
Dude, this is it right away. Ninja time. Because Joe goes, "You know what? What am I going to do? Let me just walk around this island that's really rocky. Let's go check it out."
Okay, so ninjas are like known for being stealthy, quiet, sneaky. No, these ninjas come out from like 100 yards away in full view. No sneak attack whatsoever. Just so they like no warning. It's like ridiculous. Like, they're so non-ninja like, it's not even funny.
One thing that was cool in the behind the scenes I watched with Dudikoff talking about this movie, he said in this movie he felt like they were more ninjas, just some of the techniques they use. But how badass was it the one time they used each other to pull each other up over the boulder? That was like insane.
The only ninja thing they did was make a human ladder and then pull each other up. That was cool, but that's the only thing they did. They really, if you know what, Dudikoff throughout the whole movie I think he has one scratch on his face the entire movie.
Yeah. His
clothes get ripped up a lot, but he has one scratch. Yet every single ninja gets destroyed in seconds. Seconds.
Well, they're like the stormtroopers, the foot soldiers. They just get their asses kicked.
No, they get dead. They don't even get their ass kicked.
Dude, he is like, there was some of the stunts he does in this movie, and the guy who is the martial arts coordinator, which is the guy I told you that I have a very insane story. This guy, Mike Stone, he plays Tojo Ken. He plays the number 2 to Leo the Lion. The martial arts in this movie. Well, he did the first 3 or 4 movies. Dude, the one when Joe is getting choked, you see the rope on him and pulling up, like his chin is pulling up, and he pulls that guy over. I'm like, God, some of the fight in this little scene, there's more action in this little scene than so many movies that are like supposedly action movies nowadays.
No, it seemed like this scene, they showed you a lot of different types of like ninja weapons and ninja moves that Joe is completely prepared for. I mean, yes, the scene that he's still fighting a guy being choked, yet he was definitely easy. He was able to pull that rope down with complete ease.
Yeah.
They had spears, they had nets, they had, I think, Chinese stars. I mean, like, it was ridiculous.
Well, one thing I have to say, and from you just rewatched the first one, is where he trained. Well, we know where he trained when he was younger. The fact that there was a lot of practice of throwing all different types of objects, because there's one when he grabs like some guy's kendo stick and he throws it at a guy. Oh, it's the guy that throws a Chinese star.
Yep.
And he just misses. And then he throws the kendo stick and it hits the guy and he falls off.
There has to be at least 50 ninjas in this scene, and they miss him every single time of anything they throw. Yet he does not miss. He has a bullseye every time, no matter what weapon it is. It could be anything. Yeah. and go on. You have 50 ninjas. Why are they not attacking all at once? Every attack is basically one at a time.
I don't know why. Every movie. Why don't these bad guys get it together and go all at once?
Even the gang later, he instructs them one at a time to go after him. Go after him all at once. There's no way he can stop 50 ninjas.
Yeah. And the one I just mentioned with the kendo stick, that was really cool. But the best one was when he caught the arrow and then he throws a sword through a man's chest on top of the rock and the guy falls off into the water.
Do you think it's possible to throw a sword that straight like that? Like, because he threw it like a bullet.
Yeah.
Because it literally went straight, or like a missile. He threw it like a missile. It literally the sword went straight uphill into the guy's heart.
That's pretty strong. And even the first one, when he throws a screwdriver through the guy's neck from 20 feet away. Like
he I don't think he's ever missed on any throw he has. It's insane. He's really good.
That good. He is that good. And then this is when Jackson comes out of the water. He runs over and he's just ready to go.
How about his theme, his music? When he comes out, it's like these big bongos or like these like drums. That's like it's like very aggressive drumming. Like here comes like a monster ready to tackle everybody, you know. And it's just awesome.
Yeah, and his fighting style is just so cool because you see with him, he has the technique. He can do like the toe-to-toe with guys. And I'm not saying Dudikoff couldn't do that, but his is more like quick kind of scenes. But dude, Steve James, man, he knows.
Well, he's also a beast. I mean, he does get punched a lot in the face, but his move after he gets punched is usually like a turnaround quick punch back. Like he does it multiple times throughout the movie, you know, and he really is. I mean, he's huge. I'm surprised. I know he died young with cancer, but I mean, it stinks because I think he could have done a lot of more action movies.
Yeah, he did a lot. Like even from, I forgot what is, maybe it was American Ninja, but from that they were like, wow, he's awesome. So he got put into Delta Force, so he's in a few of those movies. He starred in his own Riverbend, so there's like a bunch that he did. But no, you're right, because man, just so they're doing. So he kicks a bunch of guys' asses. He sees Armstrong, and then they notice a ton of ninjas. So I don't know how many total ninjas there were, because I think alone Armstrong probably took out 20 at least. And what, Jackson maybe 5 or 10, because he was only around for like a few minutes.
And they're on like a little island. So where are they coming from? They just keep like reappearing. Like they, like it's like they kill one, they automatically reappear at the like other end of the island, and they just keep coming through.
Like in a video game, the respawn is like right there, and they just like keep going in like a line.
That's what it seemed like. I mean, so yeah. And you're going to tell me these Marines don't hear anything that's going on? Because they're back on the island now. You're going to tell me you're not hearing any of the death cries or, throws or fighting? I mean...
Well, they must have heard something because they were in the perfect position for the jump off.
Well, and considering every punch made a punch sound, they had to hear those.
Hey, Tommy Taylor, you hear the special effects that are going on over there?
Every punch. They that's the one thing in this movie. I mean, and there's a funny one later on. I know you know what I'm talking about, probably at the bar, but the sound effects in this movie are great. It's so like this, it's so off the wall. And I think, obviously that, and I was listening to the interview, he was going for comedy with the action. Like it's very different than the first movie. And I think it's so much better this way, because it is a silly movie. So to add the silliness to it makes it so much better.
Yeah, embrace it. You're not making Casablanca, Godfather. You're making an action movie that's going to keep people excited for 90 minutes. And
like you said,
all these movies.
This budget was lower than the first budget, right?
A lot less.
Right. So I think that's part of it is like, all right, since we're not going to have a bigger budget to do the things maybe we could do, let's add some comedy to it and change it up a little bit. And I think it worked.
Oh, yeah. So this part, I sent you the clip of the documentary and I read about it. It was so mind-blowing. The fact that when Dudikoff talks about when they get to that scene, I think the place was called Boulders, and they were just before they're getting ready to jump off into they're jumping into the boat, which the cut to the jump to the boat.
You mean the little skip that like they landed like they were really like 2 inches off the ground?
Oh, no, it almost looked like they were in the boat and they told them to jump. That's what it looked like.
Because that cliff was very high.
Oh, yeah, they would have broke their legs.
But I mean, just the way they landed, it was just so ridiculous.
So soft. But he said Steve James, this is how much of a trooper Steve James was. Not until it was about to happen. He whispered quickly into Michael's ear and he says he doesn't know how to swim. So then they go, wow, that's a serious thing. So they get the stunt double. The stunt double doesn't know how to swim. So then Steve is like, I'll do it myself, but just promise to grab me before. So I'm sure there's obviously a take of them not landing in the boat because they would have broke their legs. I wonder how quick he went over to grab them.
I find that, first of all, I find that amazing that he waited into the last minute to say something. So I'm sure he read the script and he read that. All right, here's the point where they're gonna be jumping in the water. So I'm not sure why he waited to the edge of the cliff to say something. But I from far away, I actually thought it wasn't a stunt double. Like they probably could have gotten away. I mean, he's such a big guy; it's probably hard to find a stunt double to fit him. But yeah, that's a great story. And listen, if anyone could save someone drowning, it's Armstrong.
It's Armstrong. But I think that goes to how big and just badass Steve James is. So he's probably like, all right, I think I really have to. Maybe he thought he could will himself to just do it.
Well, you know what? You just made a point. So how badass and big he is. Imagine like your fear is, listen, if you don't know how to swim, you definitely have a fear of swimming. And he has to jump off this high cliff that was pretty high into water and really faces fears literally. I mean, that's pretty badass.
So then they get back to Wild Bill. You mentioned before when Wild Bill was like, what is a ninja? What's a ninja? And then Taylor's on the phone and he's on the phone with the bad guys. And they say to make sure you lure Joe to the bar.
Now, hold on a second. So I don't know if this scene, I think the scene happened already. Did you know the big blooper that happened in the scene in the office? No?
No, in the office? No.
Okay. So do you see the I mean, if you're watching this on video, the picture in the right hand corner, you see that guy?
Yeah.
That's Dudikoff. So there's a scene when he's talking to Wild Bill. Both of them are standing there, and then you see with the front view you see Dudikoff. From the back, it's the stunt double, body double, and then when he walks out, the body double is in there, and he left it in there by accident. If you go back to YouTube when you get a chance, you watch it.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's almost the worst body double mistake I've ever seen in a movie. You literally see the guy body double walking out.
Yeah, so then the next day, after Tommy Taylor's like, all right, I'll lure him down, he goes, right? He sneaks into his room. Oh, yeah, Dudikoff sneaks into his room like in the middle of the night, right?
No. Tommy sneaks into Dudikoff's room.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, yeah.
Right, so Dudikoff is sleeping, and Tommy sneaks in, and first of all, he goes, listen, I can't tell you what's going on now, but come alone. Like he was as suspicious as you possibly can get. Why couldn't you tell me right now? Like, why can't you? You're standing right here with me. Why can't you tell me? So, I mean, obviously, Dudikoff already, suspected him being bad.
Yep.
So, he knew where he was going.
Not for nothing. Tommy isn't probably a good fighter, and he just knows that ninjas tried to kill, Armstrong. Would you sneak into his room like that? Right. He could have thrown the phone, wrapped it around his neck and done, because he does a lot of neck snapping in this movie.
He does.
He could have snapped his neck.
But I think at this moment, he's so dumb that he doesn't think that Dudikoff is only an army guy. He's not a Marine, so he doesn't know what's going on. So so I think he just thinks that, Dudikoff is so stupid. Yeah, I'm going to come along, make sure you come along kind of thing so he can kill him there. So,
Oh my God. So then the bar's it made no sense. So he goes to the bar and there's people standing in front of it. He rides a Kawasaki, maybe the Marines that got kidnapped, extra one. He goes to the front door. It's locked. So he's all right, let me go out around the side. He goes in the side. He opens the door. There's people there. The bar's filled.
Well, again, that's where the gang is staying. So they locked it. So he had to go that way. because he fights them in the street first before he goes in the bar.
He does. He kicks their ass.
Right. So they locked the door so he had to meet them on the side. And again, the big guy is wearing a dirty stained shirt. He basically breaks everybody's arm in this scene.
Yeah.
Yet when he sees them later, they have no broken arms.
That is true. They heal fast.
They heal very fast.
He breaks a lot of bones. Like Seagal saw these movies and said, that's what I want to do. Because he breaks so many bones. He snaps so many necks.
And he literally, I mean, in this scene, and we're going to talk about the fight scene, but in this scene, his back should have been broken. No, he gets up and walks out. If this happened in real life, when he falls on that table, he would have been dead almost. Like, he landed hard on his back. No, he just brushes up. Like I said, he has no injury. I think he has a bloody lip at the end. That's it, a bloody lip.
He does. That's all. And the fact that he just whooped their ass in the street, he goes inside, he finds Tommy Taylor's room because he asked somebody. And so this makes no sense. So if somebody gives you directions and said, hey, because he asked, hey, do you know where Tommy's staying? And he goes, upstairs, end of the hall. He walks up and he turns a corner. It's the first room. That's not what end of the hall means. That'd be like the first door on the right. So I thought it was so funny because even when he knocks on the door, I'm like, dude, wrong room.
Well, did you see what the woman looked like behind the bar that gave him the direction? So, she might not be with it. I also don't understand, like, now he's going there. Dudikoff is going there knowing that he's probably going to fight people. He's wearing a tight denim jacket. Like, that's got to be extremely restrictive. Like, wouldn't you go there in a tank top, and just like, listen, if I'm going to, knowing that you're going to be starting, you're going to fight people, he's wearing super tight jeans and a tight denim jacket.
What would you go with? You go tank top?
I think I go tank top and gym shorts.
Gym shorts?
I mean, I want people to move around.
I don't want my boys constricted. I got to move fast. I got to be limber.
And you know what? Now you make a point of that, I might even wear a cup. I mean, if I'm going to fight, if there's ninjas in an area, a good idea. They might be kicking me in the nuts. So, you know what? I think that's a good thing.
That's what these ninjas would do. Other ninjas, they'd sneak behind you. They'd slit, just sword to the throat. These guys kick you, look you in the eyes, kick you in the balls. So do you think the bartender is in on this? All of this?
They have to know the local guys. I mean, they have to, because how can they constantly be lingering around the bar out there? They go in the bar, out bar, and no one says a word to them.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a saloon, like an old West saloon where these guys run the bar all the time. So yeah, I would say first of all, she looks like she could be part of the gang. She had that big she had that big 80s hair, I think a sleeveless denim jacket, the bandana around her neck. Yeah, you know what? She might have been like one of the ladies of the gang.
Joe, it'd be great if Joe was like, nice jacket. Nice denim jacket. So then, all right, so he goes upstairs. Again, he just whooped these guys' asses. They come in the room again. And dude, his kick, when he jumps off, again, weirdest room ever, right?
Well, a very weird room. But first, he breaks that guy's arm again that was wearing like a thermal shirt, whatever. Yep. So he broke that guy's arm outside, but then he breaks it again inside. And then that's when the big guy kept sending one at a time, go get him. And he just basically mauled them all. And then, yes, that jumping kick that he just basically, it was almost like the Mortal Kombat, Chung-Li kick when he jumps across the screen. Like, that's what it was.
And the guy went through the door. Like, they had a very, very skeleton crew because of the budget. So that guy took that, that guy went to that door pretty hard. And he's a pretty big dude. But no, to talk about this room. So you got to think they're on, I don't know what is at the top floor. Let's say it is the top floor. When you walk into a room, how is there double stairwells going up? Where's that going?
And this is a bar.
It's a bar.
Well, that's the suite.
That's the suite. But no, dude, how about, and then this is where Taylor admits everything. I set up the Marines because, they have my wife. The lion has my wife. And dude, when he looks out the window and Joe real quick was like, no, don't look out the window. And I'm thinking so many different things. I'm thinking poison dart to the neck. I'm thinking Chinese star to the head. No, there was a guy literally standing there and stabbed him in the chest.
You saw them like their shadow as they were walking across.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, how stupid is it? He literally, he knows, like, if he talks to Joe, he's gonna be in trouble. So he stands right in the middle of the window, right where the blinds are, like full, like, so, like, that doesn't even like try to like look behind the curtain, and like see if there's any. No, just stand right in the middle.
And he does mention what the whole point of this movie is, which we'll get more into later. But when he says that they're doing biochemical research on the people and I just had to drop that nugget because this is the first time we really find out of like what's happening. But then later in the movie, I had a theory, but then that totally went out the window. But you ready for Wild Bill with the best line in the movie?
Does it involve a female?
Yeah, this is really beginning to get on my tits.
I wrote that down. I with that, by far the best line in the movie. I don't get it. I mean, like, it doesn't make, like, I don't know if like a man would really say that. Like, in the military, just kind of like sounds weird. But yeah, I laughed when he said it though. I'm like, weird. But so hold on. Yeah. Considering that they're not in shape, they probably have man tits. So, that's probably what he means.
I was just like, I'm trying to sit there and decipher it, but that's something that, if another character would have said that, I'd be like, oh, but that's Wild Bill. Like, when you look at this guy, like we talked about, like, he looks like an RA. He looks like this guy that is Lassard-ish. So that's like the perfect line. And then this is where he introduces, hey, this is what we're going to do. There's this big fancy party for, I think the party was for the
lion.
It was for the lion, but it was more for the ambassador.
Yeah.
I think it was for the ambassador. So then,
for the party, the smaller guy had to lend out his Marine uniforms to Jackson and Joe. I don't think they would fit into, because he says, these are the only 2 suits or 2 uniforms I have, so don't ruin them or something like that.
Yeah, that was funny. And then I love that Jackson gives it right back to them because Wild Bill's like, you're going to dress like Marines. And he's like, Marines?
Yeah.
Giving that business right back.
I wonder, is that like, I wonder if that's a real thing though. Like do the Marines not like the Army? Is it? Oh, it is?
I know a kid that was in the Marines and he posts all these memes on Facebook that are like dissing the Army. And I'm like, I don't know. I guess.
Yeah, but these guys were Rangers, and Rangers are supposed to be tough. Like, I think Rangers are supposed to be like the level of, like a Navy SEAL or something like that. Like, it's like a different from the Army. So like the fact that they're making fun of Rangers, like, yeah.
What's the Marine version of that? What's the Marine elite group?
You know what? I don't know.
Oh, SEAL Team 6? No, right? That's Navy, right?
Yeah, SEAL Team is, I think, you know what? I don't know. You lost me.
There's any like former Marine upper echelon people, Twitter at sequels only, Doug at sequelsonly.com. Just shoot us an email. Let us know. So then we get one of another rival best line in the movie. So they get to this party and they're supposed to be like doing this recon. They're talking about, hey, Wild Bill is like, okay, Armstrong, you're going to do this. And then hey, that's the lion over there. That's this. And then Jackson goes, oh, here's this hot chick. I don't even know. Do you remember what she was eating? I didn't even see what she was eating because that's what initiated his whole conversation with her.
I thought his conversation started off a little weird.
Well, right? She was eating something, but I didn't know. I guess maybe.
No, I know that, but doesn't he say like eating's bad for you or something like that?
He said doctors recommend don't eating that. Might I suggest aerobics, isometrics? Me?
Yeah, but okay, so saying aerobics like as a woman's eating is basically calling her fat. Like you can use some exercise.
Yeah.
I mean, she's far from fat, and I mean she's fat with a pH.
She is. He could have used so many different. He could have walked up and said, "Baby, that's a beautiful crumble it would look better crumble up next to my bed." Something like that. No?
That's your go-to line?
Well, I haven't had a go-to line in like 11 years, man. I probably use one of those lines like Jackson did, something stupid.
You can, baby, you can use aerobics.
What? Yeah, you don't finish the line like when you tell a friend, like, "Hey, use this pickup line," and then they say half of it. But yeah, that's crazy. You told me before we started recording that they're married, or they were married.
Yeah,
at that point, or
good for him. He scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he did. He did. So then we get Inspector Singh, who we saw a little bit earlier in the movie. Definitely crooked. He walks up. He goes, "Mr. Armstrong, several witnesses say you were the last one who went into Taylor's room," which, okay, he was. That's true. But this is like, right here, Wild Bill has to know this.
You know what? They literally do not hide the villains, the corrupt cops at all in this movie. Like, you really know who's the bad guy from like the beginning, middle, like a lot of times you'll find out, oh yeah, this cop was corrupt or whatever. No, they basically show you every single person right off the bat who's the bad guy.
Yeah, which made me think, because they do that in all different types of movies, these like B action movies. I was like thinking, like, who could turn? I was like, it couldn't be Charlie. And then for one second, I'm like, what if Wild Bill? Wouldn't he be the perfect mastermind? The guy that says, "Oh, this is really getting on my tits," is the guy that's behind this whole thing. He's really the lion. But no, we knew.
You know what? Can you really sound angry by saying this is getting on my tits? Like, I feel like no matter how you say that line, it's just not going to come across angry.
This is really beginning to get on my tits.
So I feel like if you say that like in an angry mood, people are just gonna laugh. Really.
So then we get Taylor's wife, Alicia. She gets out of wherever she was because she was kidnapped.
No,
so maybe they're
not Taylor's wife.
Yeah.
No way. That's not Taylor's wife.
Oh, then who's Taylor's wife? Do we ever see her?
No, that I was going to bring it up at the end of the movie. They never mentioned her again.
Oh, that's why I thought it was her.
No, no, because she was kidnapped. She's not kidnapped. Remember, the only reason why her father, who looks like her grandfather, is
the scientist.
Right. The only reason why he's doing the work for them is because they're leaving her alone. She says that. She says that in the movie. So yeah, that's not Taylor's wife. And it's okay. So now that you brought it out, I was going to say this, at the end of the movie, when we see, who made it out, who made it, they totally forgot about Taylor's wife, because obviously he didn't want to do what he kept doing, only because they were holding his wife hostage. They never say anything. So they basically left her there.
Oh shit.
Or she died in the explosion. Another person that Dudikoff killed.
Wow. You know what? That's funny, because that's why I thought, because it was only like 5 or 10 minutes before that he tells about. So I thought it was the wife.
No.
But it's funny you mentioned that. They could have even like thrown in any line, like he could have said like, "Oh, well, I'm here for," later in the movie, Armstrong could have been like, "Where's Taylor's wife?" And he's like, he doesn't have a wife. He's doing this because, or something.
Well, let me tell you, if that was his wife, would she mourn a day? Because she leaves with Dudikoff at the end of the movie, which is basically between the party and that, I think all happens in like 2 days.
It does, yeah.
So I don't think she, it's not his wife.
That is true. So then this is when Alicia shows up. So not Taylor's wife.
Correct.
And she starts freaking out. She goes up to the lion, slaps him in the face. And this is where so let me reveal this now. So this is where we meet the first time we see Tojo Ken. And I think we saw Toto already once.
No, you saw Tojo on the island. He was on top of the big rock because he made
he was.
He made like a fist, like a ninja code thing.
You're right. His hands. Oh, but he in Ninja Guard.
He was in Ninja Guard. He was in Ninja Guard, out, right? And then he took the headgear off.
So, okay, I can see you're sitting down. Whoever's, listening, pull over, just relax, because this is kind of mind-blowing. So his name's Mike Stone, big time karate guy. Like, he is up there with like the Chuck Norris's like winning the karate championships in the late.
Wait,
60s.
his last name is Stone?
Mike Stone.
It doesn't look like a stone.
Well, he's from Hawaii. He's an American. So
Stone is like a popular name in Hawaii?
Yeah, there's a lot of stones over there. You know, it's probably lavas, volcanoes, coconuts, palm trees. Flintstone. So here it is. So just think about how I just set that up. He's the martial arts coordinator for a bunch of these movies for Canon, big time karate guy, right? So the fact that this is a connection, and I found this out just by going on his IMDb to see like what else he worked on. He had 3 photos. Okay. Second photo was like, what? So I had to Google. So Mike Stone met Elvis and Priscilla Presley, 1968, at some big karate tournament in Hawaii. And Elvis's longtime karate instructor was running it. Stone at the time had a kid, pregnant wife. So Stone was actually working for a bodyguard for another upstanding human being, Phil Spector. And so after the show, Elvis invited Stone back to the couple's penthouse suite where Elvis said, "Hey, Priscilla, you should train with Stone." 3 weeks later, Priscilla made the 45-minute drive to Stone's school in Huntington Beach, but it was too far. So she started training with Chuck Norris. So after a while, Mike Stone was like, "Hey, I'll train you. I'll meet you at Chuck Norris's dojo. We could train there." Then they became closer and closer. The relationship soon turned romantic, contributing to Elvis and Priscilla's split in February 72, divorce in 73. Stone and Priscilla would eventually split up because he sold the story to a tabloid entitled "How I Stole Elvis Presley's Wife from Him." Priscilla split with him because of that. And you ready for even crazier? According to Priscilla Presley and Mike Stone, Elvis hired a hitman to kill Mike Stone.
Would you read this in the Inquirer?
This is in her biography.
Whose? Priscilla?
Priscilla Presley. In her autobiography. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I could see Wild Bill, Stone. Wow. I'm like, my mind is blown.
And here's how it happened. So I went on the IMDb. First photo was him in this movie. Later in the movie when he's like fighting his own ninjas. But then the second photo, I'm scrolling and it's him and Priscilla. And I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, did they date for some reason? I Googled and I was like, my jaw was on the table. I'm like, what the freak? And it was confirmed by a few people, like Elvis buddies from like back then said that for years, he said he knew a hitman and that he told Priscilla, anybody that ever bothers you, let me know and I can get rid of them.
That's amazing.
Crazy.
That's amazing. Crazy. That's awesome. So
yeah,
not just a ninja, a wife stealer.
A wife stealer. Mr. Steal Your Girl. And okay, so now back to it. So we see, so she goes up, she smacks
well, she actually, I think she punches one guy down and then she smacked the lion.
Yeah, and then I think that's when Tojo like stops her for like a second, and then they take her away. And this is when Wild Bill's like kind of in on it. He knows.
So I think this is the moment that Wild Bill finally realizes, like maybe these army guys are right. So he says, "Take my car."
He's like, "Take my car. You get it. You damage it. It's gonna hurt my tits." So his car, the cars that are over in that country, so cool because you got to think this is the 86, 87 when they filmed this. Those are like really cool, like late 70s. They look like a lot of them. I would say most of them are like American cars now.
It looked like a Cadillac.
Yeah. Like it was like a boat.
Yeah. It was huge.
And then, dude, when they go into this, and I love his line. Wild Bill goes, "Okay, now go kick some ass and don't let that little lady down." And this scene at the bar, they go back to the bar again.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. I mean, and I think it has a lot to do with Jackson. He has a few one-liners in here, and just the one fighting thing he does is just amazing. Just a little. It had a little commando-ish to it.
Oh yeah. Go into it. Go on.
Okay. So, I mean, I had to rewind it because I wasn't sure I heard what I heard, but there was a scene when there was about, 10 people from
at least.
And to answer your question before, it was a bartender in on it. I think they all are, because even one of the women was trying to grab Armstrong when he was climbing up the thing, and he kicks her in the face. So, yeah. So I think they're all in on it. But when they had, so 15 guys grab Jackson. First of all, he's yelling the whole time. Like he really loves the fighting. Like throughout the whole movie, he just wants more and more. And they dive on top of him and just start pounding on him. And all of a sudden, all he does is like stand up and flex or whatever he does, and they go flying, all of them. And you hear bowling pin. You hear bowling pin noises. I had to rewind that to make sure I heard what I heard, and it was bowling pins. So you know what? I'm assuming it might have been 10 because there's 10 bowling pins.
Yeah, that's great. I love that he says, "Come on, you midgets, come on!" And then when he does that, he goes, "Let's party."
He also said this to someone else. He goes, "If you want to be a big man, you have to learn how to eat." And he started pounding the guy.
He threw one guy so hard into this crappy Chase Lounge, and the guy's head hit, and then his back hit the wall.
He was almost like on a roid rage. Like he literally was just like wanting to fight everybody that was around him. He was just, because when they're not leaving yet, but when they left, he wanted to go back in and fight more.
Yeah. When the line that you said where you said about eating, that's when he took a punch for the guy.
Yes.
Just to take a punch. He was roid raging.
He was 100%. And then the whole time, then Dudikoff is I think again, Dudikoff's the hero. He's always trying to save the girl, and just got the sidekick who just wants to kick everybody's ass. Yeah. That's Jackson.
And Charlie held his own. It was cool because Charlie and Jackson were doing the double punching on guys' faces and stuff.
Yeah, does that work? I don't know if anyone has ever really double punched someone like that. It just But don't forget, Charlie was also hitting on that girl at first.
He was.
He was trying to drink. He was in the background drinking, and the girl threw a beer at her. Yeah,
she threw it right in his face.
She threw a beer in his face, and then he ducked because someone threw a bottle. This was like a typical cartoon, Bugs Bunny brawl. That's what it seemed like, because every person that Jackson threw, he just kept yelling at them and just saying funny things. It was just awesome. This is the best scene in the movie.
Yeah, Sam growing up in Jerusalem, he said a lot of those movies are those old westerns, so he wanted to have one of those. And what a perfect bar saloon.
It looks like Bugs Bunny. Again, it almost looks like the Val Kilmer Top Secret when he fights in that bar. It looks like a very similar scene.
So then they're getting out of there, and they walk outside. How long are they really in there? And that car was getting ripped to shreds.
Yeah, but real fast. Yeah.
And what were the guys stealing? Usually people steal tires.
They stole the door. They stole a door. They stole hubcaps, a door. I think they stole the trunk. Yeah. they stole random parts of the car.
Maybe they have that same car.
Windshield wiper.
Yeah. They have that same car, and he's like, "Oh man, I need all those parts. Give me all those." But so then they get back to the party, and the car is
Before you even get there, so this is the scene where I said that Armstrong should have broke his back. So he fights those guys up top on the balcony, and I guess the guy grabs him, and they both flip over and off the balcony and land on the table that was filled with bottles.
Yeah, he
breaks the table, but on his back, the guy landed. I think Armstrong was on the bottom. The guy was on top of him, and he gets right up. I'm willing to bet you break your back. Anyone does that, you're dead, or at least you're broken back. You're paralyzed.
Yeah, Armstrong feels zero pain, and there's something we'll get to later that I thought I was right about, but no, he doesn't. Nothing. Like you said, the only time we see him injured, maybe some cut clothes, but a lip bleed. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. The entire movie. He makes Seagal look good.
He does make Seagal.
You know what? But you might be right. Maybe Seagal watched a lot of his movies and say, "Listen, I don't want to get touched like this guy. I don't want to get a bruise like this guy." And I want to, because it's very similar fighting style.
But I think Joe gets some dirt on him. I don't think Joe the whole movie's wearing a perfect press suit. run on a train?
I don't know. He looks pretty clean every time he leaves a fight.
His hair is always perfect.
It gets a little sweaty at the end when he takes the mask off.
Yeah. So then they get back, and dude, I love that Jackson gets that girl's number, and she's with a guy that's like older than Alicia's scientist dad. That guy was so old that she was walking with, and she gave him the number, and it's like, boom.
Yeah, but maybe that's how it is on an island. The women date the older guys. You know, all these mansions on the island is probably not, you know, and all these young girls, and they date the rich old men.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. I'd do it. Why not? He's gonna die in like 4 years, you know. Switch his meds.
You suck it up for a couple of years, you know, when you need to. Well, I'm probably dusty, but I mean, but just, you know, listen, when you want to cut the oxygen tank off, you cut it off, and that's it. It's done.
Honey, did we do it last night? Yeah, it was so great. You were the best. Just turn it off like you're turning off the propane grill, and he passes out. So then when they get back to I love Wild Bill's face, like, what the hell happened to my car? Because I don't know how far the bar is from there, but that must have been like 20 minutes because nobody really noticed that they were gone.
Yeah. You think the car would make it back?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, it really like it was demolished. They really like, you know, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, so then, and one more sound effect we missed that I wrote down was when Jackson was fighting this bigger fat guy and he punched him in the stomach. It made like a drum noise when do you remember that? It's the sound effects are so loud, like boom, like it was just ridiculous.
So then we have from this part, this is where the line comes back and he hears from, I guess, one of his guys, and he says, that American ninja fights like a tiger. And so this is where Armstrong's hiding in the back of the car. He's hiding in the back of the car when Charlie drives back Wild Bill's car. Right. And this is where, I don't know if they said it right away, because all those guys were still around, like the ambassador was around.
Well, they were looking for him because they want to plant the murder of Taylor on him.
Yeah. But when did they say you have to find her fast? When they were in the car and they started driving already, and Joe, like, I guess that's what happened, right? Wild Bill gets in the car, he sits up. But
well, I mean, the sergeant almost spoiled it because he goes, "Oh no, Armstrong's right here," you know. He's such a creep.
I hated that guy.
How is he not on the same page as Wild Bill? You know, like they seem to be on two different pages throughout the whole movie.
Dude, and then even at the end, his like, thank you was so half-assed.
Yeah.
That guy looked like, I can't think of his name. Big time actor who's in a million things.
I know. I thought, I know exactly. I thought the same thing. I couldn't think of who it is, but he definitely has that face.
I feel like the guy was like in McHale's Navy, like the original one, or one of those shows. God, I can't think of his name. So here's when he gets Toto. So this is the Toto kid, which made no sense. Like, you know, well, he wrote the movie, Gary Conway. Why the hell would he have two people? Tojo, Toto. That's like having another character that's important in this movie. That's like Tommy, you know, Taylorson. It's like, why would you have it so close? Because there was one point in this movie I was like, holy shit, they have it's the same name. So this Toto kid, he goes, I need you to find her for me. And within minutes.
I feel that he also sells himself short because all he wants is $3. And he gets a lot of, like, I think if he asked for a lot more, he would get it because he does, like, without him, they don't find the girl. Without him, they don't find the island because the girl knows the island. So, like, he could ask for a lot more money. Throughout the movie, he asked for $3 each time. Each favor is $3.
I wonder what $3 would get him over there. Is he getting a bunch of stuff or what?
Or do you think he's spending it right away?
Maybe.
I mean, like, I wonder what could he possibly buy in that island?
But $3 maybe, I don't know.
He seems like a street kid. Like, so, I mean, like, he seems like, you know, like kind of like Short Round. Like he was like almost like Short Round from Indiana Jones.
But couldn't Joe or somebody throw him a couple extra bucks one time? What would have been great if Joe gave him a $5 and he's like, thanks, mister. He's like, no. Too bad.
You owe me $2. Well, he gives him a knife at the end. So that was nice.
That was very nice. So this is where, dude, he finds her so fast. He knocks on the door and right away, a ninja. This is where this scene, like throughout the movie, obviously on the beach, he breaks a lot of bones, snaps a lot of necks. This scene, he is breaking every guy's bones in seconds. Like you said, one by one coming and just like snapping necks while she's just standing there in the doorway.
Do you think it's possible to catch a dart between your fingers?
Oh, dude, this is my favorite one. The fact that he caught the dart to save her and then right away threw a ninja star through the guy's head.
Well, this ninja star once again, these ninjas missed. They threw a ninja star and it hit the door because the girl missed the girl's head. So they missed again. Like they literally miss every single time. And so that's when he takes the star out of the door to throw it back. And once again, a bullseye.
And once again, I forgot this. Toto saves the day because he picks them up in a car.
Yeah, and only wants $3. Again, I think he should start asking for more money because he does a lot of big things here.
Wait, maybe we don't see him the whole time. Maybe he's doing $3 things every few minutes. So it's really adding up. Because was that his car, or did he steal that car?
I'm not making accusations, but he looks like a kid that could probably steal.
But no, he saves the day, and I love that he goes, "Thank you, Toto," and he goes, "Don't mention it." $3. I love him. I love Toto.
I wonder where they got the idea of $3 though. Like it's such an odd number. Like I mean, like you would think, like again, $2. I don't know, but $3 is such a weird, like it's a weird number. You know, like because even in like Better Off Dead, the kid wanted $2.
Yeah.
Right? So like $5, but like $3 just seems like I don't know, seemed weird.
No, it just maybe they tried all denominations, but just the way he says it, maybe it just wasn't funny saying $6, which is the way he's like $3. I think that's what makes it even funnier because if it was a lot of money, it wouldn't be funny. It's like if he was like $50, it'd be like, okay. But just that it's so little.
It looks like a port island to begin with, or where they are, because there's a lot of like huts and like they're like merchants in the streets and everything else. So $3 there is probably like $25.
Yeah. So here's the scene that I was talking about earlier. There were some ninjas for a second. I'm like, holy crap, is this like a final ninja? This next ninja who, if you cut it, when he throws the grappling hook, that thing was going to die 20 feet before it got to the car.
Okay. Where is he keeping that? Because he was, I mean, like, first of all, he does a flip first, right? He lands in the car first. Because he lands in the car, he does a flip as the car is going at him.
Yes,
he lands in the back. So that grapple hook was pretty big. I don't know where he would keep that because he didn't look like he had it anywhere on him when he landed in the car.
It's true.
So, but you're right. But are you surprised that he missed the truck with, literally with the grapple hook? I mean, I know they showed he made it, but even the stunt people as ninjas were horrible.
Or they were just like, okay, that's good. We can cut it. Maybe it was just like, hey, set it up if it looks good enough. Because didn't you think for a second this was Tojo or somebody that we didn't know that was a big ninja? Because this guy lasted a long time.
Yeah, I didn't think Tojo. I just, first of all, I think that was a new ninja. I don't think it was any of the ones from before. I think it was like a new ninja. Because
I can't really tell just by looking at.
You couldn't tell by the uniform.
2 inches of eyes. I couldn't tell. But no, he was good. The stuff that he would do was awesome.
Well, it was the way he was standing there, like he was staring down the truck. So like you made you think, all right, this must be like one of the main henchmen kind of thing. Because he does last a long time, more than any ninja throughout the whole movie. In fact, I think he lasts longer than Tojo.
Oh, I think so too. Tojo, for being a martial arts coordinator, I think it's going to be a little bit.
Get to that ridiculous, stupid fight.
Yeah. But no, when he's in the back and he punches into the glass, and then he starts choking Armstrong, and then who saves the day? Toto. He bites his hand.
No. Yeah, but wait, you're going. We missed the whole part when they're dragging him.
Oh, well, yeah, well, yeah. Well,
okay. And the reason why I say that is because, so here's the first person he kills, right? So he turns the car when a motorcycle was coming down, right? He basically made the motorcycle wipe out and go flying. That was a random guy, like just traveling. It wasn't a ninja. And why did he do that? Because the ninja was still on the rope. Like when he was dragging the ninja, why didn't he just like stop short?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that have worked?
Exactly.
All right.
And how about from when he's getting dragged to when he almost hits a car? Remember when he almost hits the car and he moves for 1 second? How he doesn't break. So how the hell does that ninja go from being all the way back on the edge of that long rope to in the back of the truck in seconds?
Well, you're also talking about the same ninja that was able to somehow hold on to the front of the car, after he fell off.
Yes.
But you know what, though? I give this ninja credit because he's acting more ninja-like than any other ninja in the whole movie. And, we've already seen about 100 ninjas. He's the only one doing ninja stuff. So he might be, he was. Now, what they blow the car up with, when they all jumped out?
Well, no, he ran into a gas station.
Okay. You're going to tell me there weren't people working there?
Oh, there was. That's what I mean. That was an active gas. There were cars parked there. That's
what I'm saying. So he killed the motorcycle guy, and now he just deliberately didn't even check on them. They basically leave the crime scene. He blows up the gas station. The ninja gets killed, but so does everybody that was at the gas station.
Yeah, Joe can't lose. Why wouldn't he just be like, guys, I'm going to park the car? Or once they all jump out, because he has Toto and Alicia jump first, why not just slowly park it and be like, all right, dude, let's do this. No, let me ram it. Let me just ram it into this friggin' thing.
And destroy a car that, you know what? That might have been Toto's car. What if that was Toto? He doesn't own, his family owns, they're very poor. They only own one car and he just blew it up.
It would be great if he was like, Joe, you owe me a lot of $3.
He said, Joe, 20,000.
But yeah, the fact that he does that is just like, okay.
He easily could have done a lot of things to kill this ninja. Again, he could stop short. He could have done like a donut or something. Like he could have done something. No, he blows up an entire gas station with people working and people getting gas.
Yeah. Inspector Singh, he didn't kill Taylor, but he killed the people that were at this gas station.
And the truck was going pretty fast because the ninja was having a hard time to get there. He's going to make the girl and the young kid jump out of a moving car that's going super fast. You don't know if they're going to survive or break how many bones. I mean, obviously they get up and they walk away, but but I mean, again, he's a little reckless. Listen, not everybody has Joe's ninja skills. He's got to remember that.
I think he forgets that often. And so the next scene we have, it's Alicia, and she gives us some serious exposition. She talks about her dad, who's a scientist, and now they're performing gene experiments on the kidnapped Marines.
I thought this scene was going to go in a different direction.
The music changed.
The music changed. That they were, first of all, she was super calm now. The moonlight was there. I just thought there was going to be a little, but they don't really show too much of that in these American Ninja movies.
No, he kisses Judy Aronson, right?
At the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in general, that would have been the prime time to just a little something. Give Joe a little break. No,
Cannon never did that. Cannon didn't have gratuity. They didn't follow the rules of the 80s.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. He didn't. You know what? He makes his own rules.
So then we get this meeting. Where the lion is standing in front of a logo of a lion on a ninja, with a ninja star over it. And he's just I was like, in my head, I'm like, nowadays there's gangs and stuff. There's mafia still. I hope they have meetings like this.
I'm sure they do. However, the gang, all those guys look like they're from 70s porn. They all have
how about this guy? The guy that's the only guy with a gun. He's standing there with a Tommy gun.
Oh, I know. The Tommy gun. Well, doesn't Jax have a Tommy gun later on? Jackson?
He has like a badass shotgun. I don't know if he has a Tommy gun, but this guy has a Tommy gun from the 30s.
No, Jackson, I think, has a Tommy gun when he's going into the building at first. But yeah, he has a Tommy gun. But they all have these like cheesy mustaches or like 70s vibe. Like they don't look too henchmanish. They look more like dads. They look like a bunch of dads that he picked up, to be,
It just,
I wonder.
Yeah.
Street Fighter. There's a fighter called Mortal Kombat. It's Jax.
Jax, yeah.
Do you think it's Jackson?
Oh, you know what?
Jax is a black like fighter in Mortal Kombat. I wonder if they took it from American Ninja,
or maybe they wanted him to play it eventually. He passed away. He passed away 3 years before Annihilation, so maybe.
Yeah.
And the video game had Jax in it in the second or third one, which came out like 94.
Could have been like a tribute because he was cool. I think he was a military guy too. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. All right.
So then this scene's great because you said like it's a bunch of dads, but you're zoomed in on these guys of the lion talking to all these people, and then you zoom out and it's just a bunch of guys and they're a bunch of ninjas. And then they start training. Dude, the training they were doing, just rolling, throwing a ninja star, rolling, throwing a sword.
It was like, show them what you guys can do. It was like a choreographed dance routine. That's what it looked like. It really wasn't showing much. But then he created these ninjas to make a super army. So he decides to destroy about 30 of them when he sends the other guy down.
He sends Tojo down there for no reason. This is what I want to talk about. So they talk about this whole super gene, like making these super warrior. I'm like, oh wow. So we're gonna get a guy that we haven't seen yet. That's like a super ninja. But no, none of these guys are injected with the genes that we see later. These guys in like these giant test tubes in this like green liquid. And I'm like, wait, I was thinking that this whole time we were going to get somebody, or I was thinking they were going to be like, Joe, you were one of these guys. Cause they talked about, they would have like the instincts like a lion and they would be able to do all these things. And I'm like, but none of these guys have that.
Nothing. Yeah, you would think like one of those guys in a test tube would give Joe like a challenge. Like that's the way to nothing. No. And again, you have this Scarface guy that's basically fighting everybody. Now he easily could have killed 5 to get the point across. He literally kills about 20 of them.
It made no sense.
And it's fun. And you see the other ninjas like go down and grab like the dead bodies and pull them out as he's fighting. Because the way he describes these ninjas, they're supposed to be like no feelings, no pain, and they don't have any emotion, no feelings. So how would they know to grab that body and bring it out?
Exactly. No, I know. And that's what I mean. He was talking about the no emotion thing, but he was talking about the ones that are in the test tubes that aren't even there yet.
Well, I was assuming that all those ninjas you see started off in the test tubes and now.
No, those are the first ones that they're working on.
So that was all those ninjas then.
They're just ninjas that they found and trained.
No, he created those. I'm assuming that's how they.
That's what I thought, but no, that's what I thought. But they talked about the scientist. Alicia's dad says it later that you ruined what? No, because none of those were worked on yet. Only 4 Marines. The Marines that were took like what, a week ago, 3 or 4. One was maybe a few days before.
Yeah, but you don't know how long it's going on for. No. So they don't explain anything about how those ninjas got there, or what.
But those guys suck. So you're telling me those are the super ninjas? They don't know how to be ninjas.
I didn't see any super ninjas.
That's what I mean.
I know that's you know what, I don't know. I mean this whole part doesn't make sense then, because I mean the fact that you have these ninjas who are not really ninjas, and then you have these super soldiers who aren't even alive, like we don't even see them, like it's almost like they needed another half hour of the movie to get like one of those breaking free or something like that, and then because I mean we're almost there, but the fight is horrendous. It's like one of the worst. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I know. No, but maybe because canon only allows 90 minutes, like we have to cut out the whole part. No, because that's what I was waiting for. Like I was really waiting for, because why would Tojo, who again he could be the greatest ninja, but these what they're trying to create is supposed to be the greatest ever. Their instincts are hidden. They have no feelings. But no, These guys go down in 2 seconds. He kills the one with a sword in like 2 seconds. He gets a sword from one of the ninjas, kills him with his own sword, and like you said, they drag him off like they're rats. They just pull the guy away.
That ninja deserved it because it looked like when he was handing him the sword, he dropped it. Like it was like one of those teasing things, like when you're giving someone something and then you drop it on the floor before you get it. That's what he did. Like he was handing him the sword, but he did drop it. So maybe he was just pissed and he sliced them right away. I mean, yeah.
So then, right at this point,
so wait, Scarface, is he a ninja then?
Yeah.
How come he doesn't wear ninja clothes?
Well, we saw him earlier in the ninja clothes.
Yeah, the one time, and the rest of the movie, he wears like a Michael Jackson outfit the whole time.
He's not he's like a boss ninja now. He only has to wear it when he has to, like when he's in the field. When he's training other ninjas, then he has to get in the outfit. But when he's back in the office, he's just relaxing. Okay. Look at the way the lion wears. He wants to be the lion.
Oh, he's got to stand out. He wears what? Not for nothing, by the way. In the first movie, the main bad guy wears a white suit the whole time too.
I know.
Yeah. And there's like a sidekick military guy in the first movie also. Like, what's his face in this movie?
That looks like Tojo.
No. Who's the guy that was drinking at the bar and then he got what's his name? He was like the sidekick.
Oh, yeah.
So in the first movie, like this movie has a lot of similarities to the first movie.
Well, they just wanted to get it done. Like they wanted to just cash in on it. So they really couldn't do anything too different. Like Sam said he wanted to be them out of the military. He actually wanted to do Jackson and Armstrong were out of the military, living in a city. But I guess that would be more like Death Wish 3.
That'd be like Mr. Nanny. Like it wouldn't make sense. That would be so stupid. I mean, I'm glad they went the direction they did.
So then we get Joe and Alicia. They take a little boat over, and again, he could put
20 miles in that little boat.
I know,
20 miles. And why is he bringing her, knowing that it's going to be super dangerous there?
Exactly. I wrote, there's thousands of ninjas. He could have put her anywhere, and she wouldn't have got found. No,
he brings her like literally to every like dangerous area in the whole movie.
Yeah, brings her right to the belly of the beast, right there. Hey, let's do this.
He's a great ninja, but he lacks common sense on a lot of things.
No, he does. No. So then his tool. Do you remember his tool that he had? It was like a Swiss Army knife.
But it was a wire cutter. Like he would bring that with him. Like that's his.
Well, it was a wire cutter, but what it was is it was a knife. He took the knife off, flipped it, and then it connected to something.
And it had like measurements on it. There was a bunch of it had measurements on it. Like, is that like a ninja tool? Like
you had to measure the wire you're cutting, make sure it's the right. But the fact that he's like, you're like, oh, badass Joe Armstrong, and then I'm thinking he could jump it. No, and then he opened.
You just made a point. So why would he have that? Because if he's a ninja, he easily can get over that gate, the fence. So he wouldn't need a wire cutter.
Yeah, because it was electrified. He would have got electrocuted. He could have just climbed right over it. And then those guys knew he was there. Those guys knew he was there because they were like walking through and they're going, oh, hole in the fence.
There goes his common sense. See, now if he climbed over and helped her climb over, they wouldn't have seen that. But he wasn't thinking clearly, and he's almost almost 2 steps behind every time.
Yeah. And then
he just likes kicking ass, and he knew those guys were going to find it. So,
Yeah, because he was kind of waiting for them because he saw him just before he cut it. So that could be it. And then here, he's just kicking ass again. Outside, all these guys just come to him, snaps their neck, breaks bones.
Another sword missing him, and then is this where he hikes it, or is that inside the arena? No. This is where I think he hikes it. He takes a sword, he's bent over, and he hikes it, and he flies into the ninja's chest. Like he literally could throw a sword any which way, and it lands and hits the direct spot every time. These ninjas miss every single time. He literally, I mean, it would be cool if he got like maybe a dart or an arrow in his shoulder and he breaks and he pulls it off. Like show something. Nothing. They miss every time. The perfect. Worst ninjas.
I think you're right. Seagal did take that because he's like, I don't want to get a scratch like that guy.
I'm telling you, it's almost a little too ridiculous. I mean, like, you have easily. He must have, between him and Jackson, 100 ninjas, say. Not one has the aim to hit him. Then they're not ninjas. They're not ninjas.
So then
I would love to know the backstory to these ninjas.
They're just looking for work. The economy's rough. They took any ninjas because they just need anyone. They need bodies.
They might be just like the local, like I said, maybe the local dads who what's that with the search when they form that like unit at night to patrol the
neighborhood watch.
Yeah, maybe they're just the dads and neighborhood watch ninjas.
They're like, hey, join the ninja club. It's just fun. Nothing bad will happen. 50 die the first. They get killed by their own boss.
You know what? Considering they were in the back of the bar changing, I bet you they're part of that gang. They probably all look like those guys that in the bar, the gang bar, and that's when they change and take turns and because those guys are sloppy too.
Well, those guys are sloppy, but they look sloppy. I wonder it'd be funny if they were in a ninja outfit because all the other ninjas are the same.
One fat ninja come out.
Yes, belly. You see his belly button because all the other ninjas are the same height almost.
They look like the same height, same like just build. Like they look like you said, stormtroopers. That's exactly what they look like.
Wait, how many of these ninjas are the same ninja? Like when we see like the one that's in the Jeep that did that awesome stuff, was he the one on the beach earlier?
So you have like say in the movie, especially at the end, you see 500 ninjas. So you think is like only like 5 real like stunt people. And they just keep doing the same scenes over and over again because you would never know.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Let me tell you, then that guy must have a lot of bruises. Then if he's like the main guy that just hurry up, quick, run back up front. You're up again.
Yeah, he gets his ass kicked, thrown off a cliff. He has to run back up, run through the door again.
He comes back and he's got like leaves stuck to him, from the last fall.
So then at this whole time, Jackson is just chomping at the bit. They're all hanging out in Wild Bill's office, and Wild Bill's like, oh, we have to get the okay from the ambassador. And he goes, I'm boogieing, baby. Who's coming with me? And then at that point, everybody's like finally convinced, like Wild Bill and everybody's like, you know what? Let's just go over there. And they take a little too long. I was hoping he was going to be there right away.
Well, it is 20 miles.
It's 20 miles.
So, I mean, again, you would think they would have a speedboat or something. So, I mean, they probably took canoes or whatever. And Jackson looks like Rambo at this point.
Dude, he is so badass. But just before they get there, we get Joe and Alicia after they beat all the ninjas up. They dress like ninjas. And I thought this was so funny. Just thinking about your job. If you were like in the copy room, and there was just a ninja standing there. The fact that you see all these scientists and all these people like looking in telescopes and microscopes, and then you see 2 ninjas.
Well, so 2 things about this part with them dressed up. So number 1, we just discussed how every ninja is the exact same height and built. And then you have this short ninja and this monster ninja walking around. That's number 1. But 2, there was a tour of the lab. They somehow, and with a bunch of like men, regular men, part of the, the gang of the Lion, and 2 ninjas in the crowd with them.
Yeah.
Like no one noticed, like the 2 ninjas were like listening to the whole, like they literally tried to blend in as ninjas with all the other guys in that lab.
And they wouldn't know. They wouldn't be like, hey, because they probably see each other so much, right? They would know just by that little 2-inch.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be in the middle of the crowd listening of what's going on with the whole lab. Like they were literally in like as if they're on a tour and they were just following everybody as ninjas. That's
wouldn't the ninja manager come over and be like, come on, guys. I know you guys might be new here. No listening to the secret meeting. So here's what I wanted to mention to you. So this is when we kind of mentioned it before, so I won't go too far into it again, but this is when the Lion's talking to all I guess that there's investors, which I don't understand him at all, because later in the movie, there's a number that's mentioned that makes no sense.
Yeah, he's a drug dealer, and I feel like he barely talks about drugs. It's all about the ninjas, but he's a drug. No, his main thing is a drug dealer. So yeah, so like I almost feel like they forgot that plot.
They kind of did. So he's talking about that they're going to have the skill to attack and defend, and they're going to be the most lethal assassins. And then in my head, I'm like, what? That's Joe. Like, I wonder in something we know how Joe grew up and how he was trained about the man that found his like father figure that found him and trained him as a kid. But for 1 second, I'm just like, holy shit, that's Joe. Joe is this. What they want is exactly like he's right there.
Well, I think the problem is because they already showed you in the first movie flashbacks of him, being found and training, that they couldn't do it in the second movie. Because I mean, ideally, I think you're 100% right. That's exactly what he should have been. Like he's the super soldier, like ninja, but they already blew it with the first part. So
yeah.
Now, if people don't remember the first movie or they didn't show the flashbacks, they probably could have gotten away with it.
Yeah. So I love that Alicia's dad is doing he's talking to all the guys on the tour, and the lion's like, well, what else would they be able to do? And he like doesn't want to talk about it. And they're like, oh, I think the scientist needs his vitamins. And then they're like, can you take him away? And dude, they're slowly walking down the stairwell. Joe and Alicia are following, and Joe does this like front flip down the stairs to just beat the shit out of these two guys really quick.
Yeah. And we need to talk about the father's age, because there's no way. How old do you think that guy is? He's got to be in his 80s.
Wow, easy.
I mean, like my father's 75. He does not look like that. So, I mean, and she looks like she could be in her like 30s, maybe, or even late 20s.
Yeah.
Right? That's not, I mean, poor choice for a father.
Well, this is the mid 80s. So the mid 80s, he probably could be 65 years old. People looked a lot older back then.
Well, again, now that you say it, considering we talked about this already on the island, a lot of the old guys have these young women. So maybe his wife, we don't know the mom. We never meet her mom. So maybe she's young, and it now makes sense. Okay.
So this is where he drops the line. He says to Alicia, you have to stop the lion. He's shipping $5 billion worth of heroin. $1 billion?
From the 80s too.
Yes.
So yeah.
I'm like, billion.
And again, this is like literally like maybe the second time drugs is mentioned in the whole movie.
And then Joe thinks this is the best time to sit in the stairwell. And then he has like what I would only have to say that it's like Luke talking to Obi-Wan or to Yoda. He's having like a little flashback.
Well, it's a little meditation. But I don't. And then he started talking about ninja magic. So I kind of got excited about this. I'm like, all right, we're gonna see some ninja magic.
Yeah.
Outside of the puff of smoke, which I don't know where that came from, there was no ninja magic at all.
Nope.
Nothing at all. I mean, I felt like during a fight, he might throw like a fireball or something. Nothing.
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 At all.
No, he did a puff of smoke. That was the magic.
Just the fact he brought that up at the end of the whole thing, at the end of that whole dream thing.
And before he goes into like the big fight. So like you're thinking like this big buildup of some kind of, and maybe the bad ninja also has ninja magic. And now they're going to have like, it could have been like the Last Dragon kind of thing, the glow.
Or they could have just started doing the magic tricks back and forth. Joe pulls a rabbit out of the hat. Tojo, say, hey, guess the number between 1 and 100.
I think that would have been a different kind of movie.
Spoof movie. That'd be good. Nobody's ever done that, right?
Yeah, that would have been good.
Maybe spoof movie of all those movies.
Yeah, no.
I'm gonna start writing that. So then we get they finally get the other guys get into the island, and Jesus, man, just so badass what Jackson just does to some of these guys.
Well, all of them. They keep walking forward and they start just mowing down everybody. With grenades. There might even been a rocket launcher. I don't know, but like machine guns. I'm telling you, I think Jax had a Tommy gun also or something. And then he gets rid of it when he goes inside. But yeah, it was just insane, like just mowing down.
Yeah, because he switched to a shotgun.
He does
That
switch
was
to a
pretty
shotgun.
insane too.
Yeah, yeah. No, he just mows. This part is awesome with Jack, and those swords he has later on are insane.
So this is where we were talking about, like with Wild Bill, when he shows up, he's wearing like the same outfit, like maybe an homage, maybe Sam or costume designer was.
Did it have the same symbol? Did it have the same symbol on the hat?
The cavalry, yeah, it's the same symbol. Pretty much, like it's not a letter to the T of it, but
right.
It's close enough when you look at it. You're like, yeah, this is it.
That's amazing.
So then, like right at this time when Jackson's just beating the crap out of guys, like when he busts out like the two swords, that's so cool when he pulls out those two swords.
Those butcher, like, yeah, what like those swords were insane. Like perfect for him, but like insane.
And then he snaps a guy's neck with his boot.
But does he really? Because the guy gets up. No, right. No. And then the guy gets up.
He does?
The guy gets, and then Jackson says, "Stay down."
Oh, I didn't even notice that part.
Wait, you didn't hear him yell at the ninja to stay down?
I heard him say that, but I don't remember the guy getting up because he snapped his neck. I heard it.
No, he was fighting a bunch of ninjas, and then he steps on the guy's neck, and he makes that like ankle twist, like you can see his body twisting when he snaps the guy's neck. And then the ninja starts getting up, and he turns around and he yells at him. He goes, "Stay down." Oh, the ninja put his head back down and close his eyes.
How the hell did I miss that?
You got to look that up.
That's a good one.
It's almost like spoofy because literally the ninja puts his head back down and closes his eyes.
Oh, dude, I love that because that's what's great about these movies, and I'm sure Sam went for that. Like, hey, we know what we're making, and that's and then just right about at the same time is when Joe finds the 4 Marines.
Okay, I have a little issue with this part. So yes, there's 2 ninjas guarding this door, right? Which Joe takes out in 2 seconds, and then he just clearly just opens the door. Like there was 4 Marines in there that easily could just walked out at any time, maybe taking on the ninjas to try. It wasn't locked. Like they weren't chained. They weren't like, they were just literally sitting there, looked like they were playing cards. Like they were sitting on the floor playing cards with a door that was not locked.
I did like the 2 ninjas that were guarding the door because they were like, oh, here's another ninja walking up. And he like gets so close and then he like just takes him out. And like, I think one was like a punch and then he throws a kick back at the same time and just takes them both out. Like nothing.
It was like a head nod. Like, I'm a ninja, you're a ninja kind of thing. Like, they gave each other.
Is that what they say? I'm a ninja, you're a ninja. We're all ninjas, but I'm not your ninja. I'm an American ninja. I don't
know. Considering the way these Marines took out the ninjas at the end of the movie, they easily could have, 4 of them could have taken out those 2 ninjas. So like
they were training.
They were training inside the room.
They were listening to all the practice, the Tojo practicing. They saw it through like a little, maybe through the keyhole. They were like, oh, that's what you do. Because they did not fight earlier in the movie. The 2 at the bar were the worst.
Oh, ridiculous. And they do a lot of kick ass at the end of the movie.
They do. When they go into the arena, the fighting arena, that's just like perfectly.
And they're fighting with swords. Like I don't think like Marines really like practice fighting with like ninja swords, and they were fighting with swords. They were rolling on the ground, getting like it was they were doing some moves.
Did you laugh when the ambassador was talking to he was talking to the lion in the hallway? Like they were walking casually while all this shit was happening with explosions and fights going on. And he's like, what are we going to do, Leo? What are we going to do? And then they walk up and he's like, oh, thank God you're here.
I love Wild Bill. He says, go get that guy. Right. Yeah. And then he goes to the other guy, the cop or whatever. He goes, get that weasel or something like that, or don't let that weasel escape.
Good old Wild Bill. So then we get Tojo versus Joe.
Very disappointed.
I was just expecting like an all-out, like a long, like choreograph back and forth.
It wasn't long at all. Number 1, 2. Just I think Joe needed some kind of like sword cut on his leg or something like like this is the best ninja they have in the movie. He's the big villain. you can tell me he can't touch Joe either? Like, I mean, he should have gotten some kind of cut. Nothing. And then he picks up a shotgun, which ninjas don't use guns.
Yeah, I know.
Right? I mean, no, but he misses every, like, how is he dodging? He shoots. How many bullets did he shoot? Like 6 or 7, like maybe even more. He missed them every time.
Maybe it's ninja magic, and not even that he was missing and shooting his own guys. Every miss was another ninja in the background just stand. Why wasn't the other ninja behind that was right next to Joe? Why wasn't he like grabbing Joe from behind? No, he was just waiting there to get shot by Joe.
And then Joe climbs that like field goal thing. Where was he going? Because I mean, I'm assuming if he had any more bullets, he wasn't going to make it out. Like that might have been the one time he got shot because he was climbing that wooden platform that had nowhere else to go. But he timed it perfectly for no bullets.
And how about Alicia watching? She was watching and she was just doing. It was like they were like, okay, reaction happy, okay, good reaction, sad, and then reaction the last one, sort of horny. Because when she's watching him he slashes Tojo twice in the chest and falls on the ground, and she like bites her knuckles in like a sexual way.
Well, maybe fighting turns her on.
Well, she's living in the perfect place.
Without a doubt. Now, why did he put that rope in his mouth before they had that last battle? Like, what did that mean?
I don't know what that was.
And again, they made it look like this. Like they were fighting a little bit. He had the gun, he missed, and then they both dove together. Happen to have two swords right across from each other they could dive to. So a little dramatic there. And then you hear the music getting louder and faster, and like here they're both holding their swords up. What's going to happen? And no, he just slashes them twice.
Yeah,
like that was to me a very weak death for like the main villain. Like he's just as bad as the other ones. I mean, if he's that bad, yet he killed about 20 of them earlier, how bad are the ninjas?
Yeah. And the fact they didn't even do like the old cliche, he's still alive, like after he slashed him twice.
Right.
What if he like looks to Alicia, she comes down, and then like he grabs a sword, stands up, and maybe Jackson saves him. Something.
Or he gets up and throws a sword at Alicia, and Joe catches it and throws it back and throws it right back at him and kills him.
That'd be cool.
Joe could do it.
He could do it. So that was it. So all they did. So this Leo the Lion guy, who obviously was taking people's taking Taylor's wife, selling all this heroin. He doesn't really have. He gets arrested.
No, Leo gets blown up. The father is putting, first of all.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Okay. So first of all, they just happen to have bombs with wires and a remote control right by all the test tubes that the father is putting sticking to all the test tubes. And then he basically blasts him for ruining everything he wanted. So now I'm going to ruin your stuff. And they both died together. It was a suicide mission for him. So,
those were, because the reason I was traumatized by that scene, there was actual guys like that had like probably the flame retardant gel that were in the fire.
Right. Yeah.
It was insane looking. I'm like, we don't need to see that.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. So he didn't get arrested. He died. I'm assuming the cop got arrested, but yeah, it's just so ridiculous. And at the end, Joe gets the girl, but why couldn't Jack's girlfriend go with him?
Made no sense because it made okay. So that scene when they get to the party and Wild Bill says, "You guys did good for Army men, but if you want to join the Marines, I could pull some strings."
Yeah, I don't think it works that way.
And then Joe, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, Joe says, "I don't know about Jackson, but I have other plans." And he puts his arms around Alicia. And then right at that same time, we get like this medium shot of Jackson, and he smirks. He goes, "So do I, Colonel." And then he's with the smoke show. And then immediately in the next line, he goes, I promise I'll call you.
Yeah.
I'll write you.
No, you won't.
I'm like, what?
I know. That didn't make sense. Why couldn't he take her with, yeah.
So how many days after everything that happened on the island. Is this the next morning? Did they do anything together?
I think this is a weekend. I think it was just a weekend trip. That didn't seem like
short weekend trip.
Well, I don't mean to go back, but the one thing we forgot, I wrote it down, is so when the Marines are fighting, they all supposedly died by the ninjas because they all fell down and got like with swords. They all got slashed. Yet as soon as the Wild Bill gets there, they all pop up and run out. So were they playing dead?
Yeah.
Because they all survived. All the Marines stood up. The second Jackson, all the guys got there, they stood up and they show you literally them standing up and running out.
That's great.
Like they didn't even like limp out. No, they just got up and ran away. They played dead.
So then the movie cannot end without seeing Toto one more time. And he goes, "Hey, Joe, you owe me $5." And Joe gives him a Swiss Army knife. And the only thing I would have added to this movie if I wrote it, it would have been, he takes it, he opens it up, and he goes, "Whoa, is this for me?" Wouldn't it be shitty if Joe was like, "No, it's not for you"? But it'd be great if he goes, "This is great, Joe, but where's my $5?" That'd be the perfect ending.
That would be funny. That would be good.
Roll credits, everything from there. But it was nice that Joe thought of him like that.
Yeah, but you know what though? He's a ninja. He should have given like a ninja star. Ooh. Like something like what's a pocket knife? Like that's like there's no relevance to the movie. Like it doesn't make sense. I think a ninja star would have been cooler.
Swiss Army, you know, with Toto with his skill set, it's got a fork on there, it's got a toothpick, it's got a screwdriver, it's got a corkscrew. There's like 20 different ways to use that. So, and he is like a Swiss Army knife. So it's
no one told him he's probably going to sell it for something else.
Yeah, he'll sell it for like a stereo, and then he'll sell the stereo for a tire, and then the tire for, and then eventually he has another car. Because how did he have that car?
Again, I'm assuming he's like, because Short Round also got a car. I'm assuming that he stole the car. Listen, Toto's handy. He's, to me, without Toto, they don't win the whole fight.
Oh no, Alicia's dead. Yeah, Alicia's dead. If Toto doesn't find out where
Taylor's wife is dead, so might as well add Alicia to the list. I can't believe you thought Alicia was Taylor's wife.
Yeah, because it was like 5 minutes afterwards. They're like, my wife's been kidnapped there, and then 5 minutes later, I see this woman get taken away. I'm like, oh.
And again, I was waiting for the end of the movie to mention and what happened to Taylor's wife because it was never mentioned again.
Can you imagine if it was at the end of the credits and she's like, "Hey, you forgot about me."
As the boats are pulling away, like she's waving to them.
She's in like a cat, an ivory tower, like in Rapunzel. Hey.
Maybe she becomes ninja. Is there a female ninja in any of the new movies?
Well, not after that, but that'd be great if like American Ninja 3, it was her. And she goes after Joe because it's like, "Hey, why'd you leave me?"
Yeah. See?
Oh, man. That was American Ninja 2. Jamie, man, obviously, I think I know what you're going to say, but would you recommend it?
You don't have to ask. This has been probably one of my favorite movies we've reviewed. It's, again, it is silly. Some of the action is so, schlocky. But it's so entertaining because, like you said earlier, it does not stop. The movie literally, like, if there's maybe 5 minutes of slow time, there's an action scene right around the corner, and it's fun. It's a fun movie, and I absolutely, you don't even have to see the first one. You don't have to see the first one. Watch this one. The movies really don't relate at all. In fact, I would just watch this one. I think this one's awesome.
I have to go and dive and watch all of them, but the first two are awesome. Like, I like this one the best out of the two. Like you mentioned a bunch in it. Like when we were talking about it, it's just because Steve James' role in this movie, not only is he getting more, chances to show his martial arts chops, but his comedic chops, because he's really funny in this movie.
He is, and I think if you don't have him as much in the movie as he was, this movie is basically part one, But I think Dudikoff is not in the third one. So to me, you take him out, and I don't even know if Steve James is. I think Dudikoff is in the fourth
Steve
one.
Steve James is in the third one. Yeah.
He is in the third one?
He's in the third one.
Okay.
And
Dudikoff is not, I don't think. I think
he's not in the third. He's in the fourth and the fifth.
Right. And he teams up with the new American Ninja in the third one.
Yeah.
Because the guy in the third one goes to the fourth one. So listen, Dudikoff is the American Ninja. So when you replace him, it kind of changes the movie a little bit. But I guess if Steve James is still in it, then it's worth watching. Then I guess I have to watch.
Yeah, Dudikoff, from there, he didn't work with Canon for like another 7 years. So maybe he was just like, I want to try something different.
So James died before the fourth one? Or is he in the fourth one?
I don't know. He might be in the fourth one. I know the fifth one came out after he died, because the fifth one's like 94, 95. Because they really churned him out. Yeah, I think the next one's 90 or 92 or something. We'll put it on the calendar for next year. But yeah, so that was American Ninja 2. And the next sequel that we're covering came to us. It like presented itself. Obviously a podcast a lot of people enjoy, and it kind of inspired us to start this. Is how did this get made? So they were doing a talking cat that had the good, the bad, and the sequel. Alum Eric Roberts as a talking cat. So during the episode, when Paul Scheer said, "Hey, there's a sequel to this, it's called Talking Pony," I think right away I like stopped listening. I texted you and I was like, dude, we got to try to find somebody. So I got on the horn. I connected with the sound guy from the movie. This guy loves sound so much. His name is Audio Andy. Andy was one of the coolest guys. He grew up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. One day, right after 9/11, he was like, dude, I gotta stop. He was working for like an insurance company. He's like, dude, there's got to be more to this. So he decided to pursue his dream. We're talking about how he came to work at Capitol Records, the movies that he worked on with Full Moon Pictures, and lots more. Audio Andy, great dude. And he provided me with his audio. So it's probably going to be the best sounding interview yet. Jamie, are you excited for a talking pony?
I have a feeling we're going a little backwards. We hit a home run today with the American Ninja. I was hoping, we had Superman 2, even though, it was a bad movie, it was still better than a lot of the ones we recently did. I have a feeling we're going to be going backwards.
Well, Christine DeBelle's in it, another alum of ours. So, no, it should be good. And it's only to rent 99 cents on Amazon. So, woof.
Oh, shocker. It's not more money.
So don't forget to review, rate, share our podcast. Follow us on all social media at Sequels Only. And don't forget to check out our website, sequelsonly.com. Good night.
Good night.